Hello, guys.
Hey, sweetie, how are you?
I'm good. So we're talking about the holidays. So we're here in the United States, just finished our Thanksgiving holiday. I put up my little teeny tiny Christmas tree today.
I didn't put the tree up, but I have
So,
my reindeer up.
so I'm for ready for the season, whatever that means. But yeah, we wanted to talk about not stressing. That was really funny what you were sharing with me, that little thing you saw.
Oh,
Somebody asking someone not to put up red and blue
Chris,
lights, not to be a Grinch, but they keep thinking it's the police when the lights are flashing. That's really funny.
I never would have thought that, but it's like that's something that I guess we have to be kind of aware of that anything can be a trigger for anybody.
I used to do that. I would drive with my friends and I'd be in the back seat and I would take a flashlight and wave it around in the back seat and go, woo, woo. And they would just be
Oh,
like,
really?
don't do that. What are you doing? Just to get him riled up while he was driving. But
Yeah,
yeah.
it's funny when I was with the fire department, I have a blue light, right? So every time, and it's only for emergency, and I don't think I ever used it to be honest, but it's just to alert people that you're responding. But there was so many times, and it took so much effort not to put that thing on when somebody cut me off. Just like, let me just scare
Yeah.
them just a little bit.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Yeah. So
You
we're
didn't
talking
hear.
about not stressing over the holidays, which is so funny because it is a tremendous amount of energy and excitement that happens. I realized that years later, after just so many stressed out holidays of arguing and getting all stressed out, I finally realized, oh, we're actually excited to be together. We're actually excited to see each other. And that's also part of it. It wasn't just all this bad stuff. There's a lot of excitement. So, in that, you want to do things you don't normally do, or spend a little more time talking, or, you know, and then you throw some other things into the mix and it can turn into a bit of a fiasco.
Yeah, it should really, I mean, we should put all differences aside and just enjoy each other's company. But yeah, everything is stress upon stress upon stress. And it's like, look, you burned the turkey, so what? You don't have turkey, so what? Order pizza, so what? It's like, why are we complicating it? It has to be this way. It has to. No, just go with the flow. You get to spend time with family and friends. That's the meaning of it. It's like everything else is secondary.
Yeah.
I'd be
Or,
happy with to show you what we had because I've been protesting the mass slaughter of turkeys for the last 20 years, so I tend to do lasagna. Um, but my friend, when I went over to her house, she wound up getting these turkey ice creams.
that's so cute. I love that. That's
It's too cute to
awesome.
eat, but I'm like, I'd be happy with that. Forget
Yeah.
about it. So
I think it's also about getting creative, like do things your way, do them the way
yeah,
you want them. And we
yeah.
talked about that a little bit too. Like there was just always this thing where it has to be this way.
Mhm.
Everyone has to be here and it has to be like that. Like who said that? Who made that rule? What? No, you don't
Right,
have to do that. You could
right.
do all kinds of cool things that are your way that you want to do it. So it
And
makes it a lot more relaxed.
And then if you know that there's certain things that might, trigger people in conversation, then you just ban them at the table for the few hours that you're there. And just say, look, this topic's, we're not going to discuss it. Or if we do, we're going to do this in a civil manner and listen to both sides and not attack each other, you know?
Yeah.
Like we can't have discussions without people getting like angry and just like going overboard. And I don't understand that either, you know?
Yeah. Because you don't really have to. You really don't.
No,
And for some reason, it seems like that's more of an open-ended thing, whether rather than you going to a party to celebrate a person, you wouldn't really do those things.
Mhm.
And then the whole holiday gift thing. I mean, you
Gift
can just
giving, yeah.
chill on that altogether. Like you really don't have to do that at all. It's really not a thing.
We had no money when I was growing up, but my mother always managed to get one or two things for us. And you had the catalog, you get to pick one thing, and I was fine. I
Yeah.
never felt like I was missing anything that, oh, yeah, there might have been something that was a little expensive, and you're like, well, you know what? It's out of our reach, so um it is what it is, but nowadays it's like, oh, you got to buy like your kids like 20 different of the latest electronic thing, and then they play with it for 2 minutes and then it's tossed aside. And I don't think, I think when you have too much, you don't appreciate the value of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
Because I knew
there's
what
always that
it
thing.
to get us the one thing that we asked for, because it amazed me how did she manage to get the money together to buy something like that. One year she surprised me with something that I knew was way out of budget, and it was a stuffed animal. I still have it, though the fur is all worn off. So it's like 50 years old or
And of
more.
course, the little ones, I remember hearing a story from
And
this woman
I,
I worked with where,
to this day, I still have it. And I remember that feeling that I was shocked that she was able to get me that.
yeah, I remember this story of this woman that I work with who had got a toy for her 2-year-old daughter, and daughter ended up playing with the cardboard box that it came in
Mm.
for the rest of the game. She's like, I'm good. A couple
Yeah.
tomato cans and a cardboard box, and you're good. I guess I didn't really need to get you that.
Cats and dogs are the same thing. You buy them something, then they're like interested in the wrapper or the bag or the box.
It's just so funny. It's like, yeah, just use your imagination. I think you could do things differently. And it's
As long as you get your bananas and
like,
your carrots, you're happy.
yeah, like how does Axel's not stressed. Axel's just
Nope.
being him, just sitting there,
Right?
being adorable, being cute.
He looks like he's saying something. His mouth is moving. I'm sorry. We humans are too stupid to understand you. But maybe we'll smarten up one day.
He's just like, he's all ears. He's all ears. He hears
Well,
everything.
you're his number one girlfriend.
Oh, I
But there you go.
I doubt that. I
You're
doubt
his
that. Look at that handsome man. Look at that handsome bunny. Yeah, yeah, it's just I don't know. We got to calm down into these things a little better. It's hard when you have a lot going on, but I think things have changed a little in that direction. I certainly hope so. It certainly has for me. I think we've all gotten a beat on just being grateful to be alive and here in this world. Things have taken on a little bit of a new meaning.
We were just having a discussion today at dinner, lunch dinner, whatever it was. And one of my friends was saying how she was in the hospital prior to Christmas, but she wanted to go home Christmas Day, and she got them to discharge her. And she said how horrible a holiday it was. And I'm like, I thought that too, because I spent 3 Christmases on different occasions between Christmas and New Year's with my mom in the hospital. And I thought the same way until someone had told me, well, it wasn't as bad as it could have been because everybody's alive. When you put it in that perspective, you're like, what am I complaining about? So simplify things, don't get caught up in the hype and all the stuff that's around you. It's just keep it
And
simple.
some might argue that they're not happy to be alive.
I guess
So,
that's true.
I get that, but fair enough. But yeah, it is. You put things in perspective, like what's really important and what's not. The passing of time and all these things that are or are not real. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. And I think one thing I try to do too is like, how can I help?
Mhm.
What can I do? Is there something I can do? Rather than it being like, why didn't they do that? Or,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. That's helped me. But yeah, I think just in general, my perspective of things is so different because holidays were difficult for a long time, and I also loved them. I don't really want that anymore. The difficult part, I want the I love them part. So I'm kind of moving in that more and trying to remove the things that I don't like about them. And that's different for everyone, whatever that is for you. Like if it's bringing you stress, you're probably not going to want to do that. It's just common
But
sense,
also
too.
like changing your way of thinking too, because it's like
Yeah,
whatever
very much.
happened in the past to make it horrible, it's the past. You
Hmm.
have every day is a new day to start a different way of thinking. So um why are you going to give in and let it ruin the rest of your holidays going
Hmm.
forward for the rest of your life? Do something about it to change that way of thinking so that it won't happen overnight, but you can at least not dread the holidays. And then maybe next year you might actually say, all right, it's okay.
Yeah.
I can, I can tolerate it. And then maybe 3 years from now, it'll be like, oh, wow, I really enjoy it. So baby steps, but, you know, forget the past, not forget the past, but let it go. Just,
Yeah.
I don't want to use that word because of the song, but, it's just, like we have to, just like stress is around every day, it's how you deal with it that will change your perception and how you move on from it, and how much it affects you. So the same thing, if you have this you know dread of the holidays, then work on it little by little.
Yeah. And that, is your own personal stuff, pain, things around that. And you start
Not
alleviating
not
that.
doesn't exist, and it wasn't painful, but you
Right.
know uh, it continues to be painful the more you hold on to it. So leave it in the past and move forward and say, I'm not going to feel that pain anymore.
We're
I
really,
want to enjoy my life,
yeah,
because then
seriously.
it wins twice. It wins because it traumatized you in the past, it's traumatizing you now, and it's going to traumatize you going forward. At some point, don't you want to break that cycle and just say, I've had enough, you
And
know?
truly, we really are in a place in
Well,
history
we have
where
to do that.
we really do. It's quite an incredible thing. But this time in history is all about that.
Mhm.
You really can move forward now, and it is going to disappear. It's all leaving that feeling, that
Mhm.
stuckness. And that's such an amazing thing to feel, you know. It's really nice. Such an incredible thing, honestly. And it is really the decision sometimes too, where you're just like, I am going to break with this. I'm not going to do that anymore.
Mhm.
Whether it's like do a million things before I have to leave, make something really difficult, um, not be organized, or do something a little like biting off a little more than I could chew. All those things that we do that add to, but also really resolving within yourself that you're really going to break with that and do something a little bit different.
And then I know it's hard because I lost my soulmate on Christmas Day. And, losing people during the
Mm.
holidays is hard. But I like to think of it as they're super special because they were taken from us during the holiday. And they are in a better place. So it's not easy, but you know, you have to keep moving on and moving forward because that's what they would want for you. So
Hmm.
um, you're still in the living world. So it's okay to feel the pain. You're going to feel the pain. It's going to pop up at crazy weird times. Still does for me, and it's more than like 11 years. um but they are looking down on you. They're with you, and you can talk to them at any time. So if you need, to just reach out and ask for support and a hug and here and there from anyone that's around you, pray for your angels to give you comfort, and you'll get through the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Such a sacred time when you lose someone, so much loss recently, and and it's a sacred time. So it's a beautiful thing. But I always say it was one of the most wonderful things that ever happened to me, is also being one of the most difficult, but it was also really incredible because I got in touch with a part of myself that I didn't know was there. And that was really amazing. And I would wish that for anyone. It takes time, but and it's different for everyone,
Mhm.
that process, because your relationships are so different with different people.
Right.
My relationship with my mother is different from someone else's, but also all kinds of things, like how you deal with that in the moment they leave. So this is not there's no way you could ever give anyone advice on that except just
No.
a shoulder to cry on, and I'm here for you and whatever you need. And realizing that it is very sacred for each individual, because it is, I think, one of the biggest gifts you'll ever be given. Because again, like, there's a part of yourself that was connected to that person that comes into you when they leave. Very incredible thing to say, because it is actually a part of you that was connected to them that comes back into you. I kind of feel with all that they grew and learned with in their life kind of comes into you, and you get to
Yeah.
gain some of that growth and knowing. They say that, I think there's an old saying that you get to carry on their gifts,
Mhm.
which is such a beautiful concept. But I really felt that, like, there was certain things that came into me that I had no knowledge of before.
Yeah.
And I know that it was part of their lives because I had seen them do them, but I started to understand them better, I guess is the
Mhm.
only way I could
Yeah,
describe it.
yeah, because look back and you're like, oh wow, yeah, no, yeah, they knew this, they knew that, and then it's like, oh wow, and then now I feel like I have a whole army behind me.
Yeah.
So, I feel indestructible now. It's like, go ahead, take on me and my army. Sure, good luck.
I'm not going to mess with you. But yeah, for me, I really felt like it just started to emanate and flow through my life and through my gifts. Like, I started doing maybe a little more of what they would have done, or saw things in the way they did that I was never able to see before. It's really amazing. It's an amazing thing.
And then we have missions here on earth, and we have missions when we move on. So, when we're done here, we move on to the next mission in the afterlife, and in whatever capacity that might be. So, life never ends, really. It just changes form.
Form. And one of the things I've learned recently, which I think is very exciting, is that we are bringing light into form
Mm.
um, in this world right now, each one of us. What a cool thing, because we are really a mix of, what do I want to say, like a mix of light and form. It's really what the human being is. Um, we're a beautiful mix of that, but we're really bringing that into form now, the light, because it's really becoming bigger. It's becoming more. It's open now. So what is that going to look like? Well, if you think of things as lighthearted, it's going to be a lot better, because things were very dense before. It was really intense. It was really stuck. Everything felt, this is kind of the difference I'm feeling.
Me too. Yeah, I feel like everything is just lighter.
Lightening up. You know, when somebody looks at you and they're like, yeah, lighten up.
Mm.
You know, it's such a funny saying, but it's so true. I mean, that's kind of what's happening. So maybe we're just all going to be running around laughing more. I don't know, I'm being silly, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I do think it is lighter in many aspects. And even the feelings are so incredible because they're there.
Mm.
Like, you will feel negative emotion. You're a human
Right.
being, but you're not stuck in it
Right. You're not
anymore.
consumed by it. It like it hits you and then you process it and then you let it go.
Yep.
So not like dwelling on it for days and days and days, you know?
And interestingly enough, talking about death, that's actually what started to happen to me during some very important deaths in my life. When I felt this like crazy intense grief. And then I would be like, oh, I got to go do my dishes.
Mm.
And it was like part of the process of like sort of flipping the switch, which kind of makes you feel like you're going crazy for a minute. But I'm actually feeling that way more regularly in my life now, which maybe means I'm completely crazy. But no, it doesn't, because what's happening is that sort of coming in for me now, where I am feeling my emotions that way. And I feel a lot deeper than I used to. My emotions are very strong, but they're very fast moving and they flow through quickly, and I'm on to the next thing, or I get what I need to get out of it, or I'll just be laying down to go to sleep at night and everything will start coming in from the day where I have just these popping realizations of what happened and why they happened and what I had my part in it and all of it.
And I'm a little bit different because I always used to feel too much. So I would absorb everything
Mm,
and it would like really drain me. And now it's like it's not consuming me. Like I still
mm.
feel, but I'm not, like I'll still cry if I see a kid in the street crying, I'll cry. It's like somebody's crying in front of me, I'm gonna join in. But it's not
Wow.
like it consumes me and then I just my whole energy drains, it's different now. It's like I can experience it, let it go, and not absorb it.
That's such an incredible thing to say, because, the consuming is how I felt with the being stuck.
Mhm.
And, and again, to kind of bring it full circle back to the holidays and consuming, we're moving out of that consumption. We really are, in so many ways. Like, you think of like consumer and materialistic holidays, or consumption of I ate too much or whatever it is. We're moving out of that in a way where we can feel, process, digest, and start to flow through with much greater ease than we used to be able to do. So it's a great thing to keep in mind. And in the ways we can say no to certain things that are stressing us out or making us consume too much, we just say no. And that's a really easy way to kind of create that flow. And again, we're just going to bring it back to Axel, because
Yeah,
he's got it down.
he's in the moment. I think animals don't know about the future, they're just in the moment.
Mm.
And just like they can forgive humans for abusing them, you know and then they move on. We can do the same.
Yeah. As long as we're getting pet by Stephanie, we're good. So I hope everybody has a really good time and
Stress free, try to enjoy it for what it is.
feel the relief
Yeah.
of the coming times and the wonderful light that we are bringing into form. Well, have a good one, and I'll be talking to you throughout. So
Okay. And to everyone, if we don't see you before then, happy holidays.
bye.